Shit. Sorry. I'm dying.
Good way to start the recording.
Oh man, we hit record and I just. Oh no. Okay, this is a funny story. It doesn't matter. It's recording. As Michael just said, I've seen billions. I know how lawyers party now. Dude, it's true. And when I went to law school, I remember going to this happy hour, my very, very beginning of law school. I didn't know anybody yet. And I had this guy come up to me that was in my 1L class. He didn't make it, go figure, but he came up to me and we're talking, he introduced himself, and he's like, we're at this bar on a rooftop. And he's like, hey man, you got any nose candy? And I was like, what? He's like, you have any nose candy? I was like, bro, I don't even know what that is. And he told me what it was. And I was like, no, I don't. Maybe that guy does, but I don't. I'm going to go somewhere else. And I was like, this is not for me. So yeah, people are crazy. Like, yeah. It's like the Adderall and stuff like that. It's like a black market in law school world. Okay. That was unnecessary. I want to start off by saying, I know he's not here. He's probably taking care of his kiddos and stuff. Oh no, he is here. Jamie, congratulations.
Oh
man.
yeah, congrats, dude.
Yes.
Shout out, Jamie.
Okay.
Client acquisition.
Dark screen. Got a client. Freaking pumped. We partied with Jamie in Orlando.
We did. We did party with Jamie.
I
promise we're going to talk about like legit stuff here in a second, guys. But we're just you know what this is.
Well, so I'm just like, I'm excited for all of you when you land clients, but like, you know, we got drunk together, so I'm like more excited. Anyway, all right, let's get into it. So Instagram ads. If you guys have questions, bring them on. I'm going to show you a campaign. There's only so much we can talk about with this, but a lot of you have been asking about it. I started dabbling with it. I actually didn't start testing it until I started having trouble with a client campaign. And my thing is always like, if something's not working, like try something totally off the wall, go in a totally different direction. So go super short copy to do something different. Do a slideshow, do a video, do a really long in-depth landing page, do a ridiculous unrelated image that just grabs attention, right? One of the best ones I ever did was I was doing a men's ad and it wasn't working. And I did a picture of a girl like in a bikini at a pool. And I changed the copy to say, like we're looking for men and women to do this program, but I was only targeting men. And it worked like gangbusters because it got them to stop scrolling. And that's probably like a really horrible thing to do, but it worked. And sometimes you just have to do, something, you got to try something a little crazy. And so one of my clients has been with me for years and we were just having a tough time. And I was like, you know what, we've done a little bit with Instagram with like online stuff and all that, but I was like, I'm going to give it a try for local. Like no one does this, but I'm going to give it a shot. And it worked really well. We did, we stopped doing it, but we did about 200 something leads on one campaign, got great prices and closed some real business. So I'm going to go through that campaign. I need you to talk for a little bit though, because my throat's hurting.
Yeah. Okay. That was an awkward transition. I wasn't ready.
I'm sorry. It was just like,
no, that's cool. No, it's cool. And it's actually, so this is interesting because for Millennial Money Man, in 2019, we're going to be doing a lot of testing on Instagram. But I mean, for the purposes, like for the last year, maybe 2 years, like everything's been going so well on Facebook that it really has been just like trying to optimize everything. But now we're kind of looking at different stuff. We're looking at Instagram ads. We're going to go hard on that. We're doing Pinterest ads right now, which I know isn't related to this training, but that's kind of the deal. It goes into what you're saying. Like once you find something that works, keep trying other stuff. And if you don't, if you're trying to figure out new ways to do something, like go radically different. Like a lot of people wouldn't expect us to do Pinterest ads, I don't think.
Yeah. Well, and it's like we've always said for this course, we're teaching you the business and the marketing principles. And if you learn how lead generation works, Like there's going to be a day where maybe it gets to where we're going to have to change the name and it's going to be called the Lead Gen Side Hustle Course or something like that, because we're going to be doing Facebook and Pinterest and Twitter or whatever. There's going to be other traffic sources. And as long as you know the principles of offers and lead gen and copy and those kind of things, you're going to do well. But as we've learned so far with the Pinterest stuff, like you need a good headline as part of the image. And it's just looking at that platform and saying it's these big images with text. And if you have compelling copy and a good catchy image, like it's going to drive the clicks. It's not about as much the copy. It's about the art. And with Instagram, you need a good photo, an artistic photo, and then you need to do the copy a certain way. So all the principles are the same, the landing page, everything else. But what you're trying to do now is this is rough. What you're trying to do now is look at the platform and say, what can I do to make this native to how things are done on this platform? You know, because every platform is different. So if you think about what is my experience like on Twitter, what is my experience like on Instagram, like your copy and your creative needs to reflect that.
Yeah. And the testing, like the testing we teach you guys in the course, that transfers over to a lot of different platforms. Like for Pinterest, we were able to very quickly, you know, basically on the first test, we already found one that's driving 6-cent clicks.
Yeah. And it's driving people to our order form.
Yeah. We're getting add to carts. We're getting conversions.
Order form. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's just using the same testing principles that we use on Facebook ads. So it's really interesting.
Let's get into the ad. So I want to start with the creative. Actually, I want to move the screen. I don't want to be looking sideways. So I did a webinar today. And
I'm surprised you did that. I mean, I know why.
I already had it scheduled though.
Yeah.
And it's one of those, damn it. It's one of those things like once something's scheduled, it's like easier to just do it. So yeah, I'm just like, my voice is shut. Okay. So this is the campaign. So you can see here, we're getting good CPMs. We normally are doing 11 to 12 pound CPMs. Just we're doing so cheaper CPMs because there's less competition on Instagram. You can see 50 cent per action. Now, let me look at the conversion percentage here. The click-through percentage was really good with 1.3. I was really happy with it. But the conversion percentage was around 14%. And he's usually doing closer to 25. So we had a lower conversion percentage with Instagram, but the lead cost was good. Our goal with him is to be in that 3 to 4 range. And we were at the 3 pounds, you know, flat. And at the time that we did this, we weren't able to get his regular ads under 550. So now we have his regular ads back performing well, but this was a good transition. So the big thing is you're in Ads Manager. And so really all we're doing here is we're still local targeting. And our placement is mobile only, obviously, because Instagram's pretty much just mobile. And then we're doing Instagram only. We've turned Facebook off completely. If you don't turn Facebook off completely, you are going to see a good chunk of your traffic go to Facebook because it's easier. So we recommend going only Instagram. One thing I want to look at is I don't know if we had stories. Oh, a lot of money went to stories. So if you look at the story placement, it was £1 cheaper, which is about $1.25 cheaper. And the bulk of our leads went there. So I didn't know this. I didn't look at this. But so now knowing that, I might actually, if I saw that I was getting that much cheaper click percentage and click-through percentage, but that I I was getting cheaper lead costs, I might do it. And so even that is interesting. Higher click-through percentage, almost double, half cost for the cost per click. But the, the conversion wasn't as good, right? So the percentage, you're talking like 10% versus 20%. So you got to look at all these numbers because we were doing a higher conversion percentage for the feed, but it was more expensive. So looking at that, I might go all in on stories, but I let them both run because it's still, the average cost was good. If you guys have questions, please chime in, give my voice a break. So I want to show you, let me show you another ad. Give me 1 second. Oh, come on. Where's my controls? 1 second here. Oh, I'm glad I did that. Because that was not his account. And that's not I know he won't mind, but some people do. Okay. Sorry, guys. All right. So let me share again. All right. So this is the ad we've been running, and it's a video. He has this really well done, like professionally done video. And so this ad we've run this exact same ad for like 2 years. We like have to remake it sometimes, but it just runs forever because the video is so good. But you'll notice here, we tested this, it's really big text. Like, we're looking for men over 35 who want to do da 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 da, and it goes into all these bullets and stuff. And if you look at the Instagram one, you'll notice we got rid of all caps, and it says like, we have this headline.
Hey, we can't see anything.
We're just looking at your cute kids.
Oh, damn it.
They're good kids.
Well, I'm glad that y'all spoke up. It's a pain in the ass. Not you as a pain in the ass. Pain in the ass. I don't want to work this technology. Okay, so this is the ad. This is like the professional video I was telling you about. So we use like all caps here. It says Men Wimbledon. We have this call to action. Tap line. I get started. Whatever. When we switch this to Instagram, I'll give you an example. If I take all this and I put it in here, you can see here how it cuts off, and it says like Men of Wimbledon, but it cuts off, want to start transforming their, whatever. So what we did is we just put the whole headline basically at the top here, and we got rid of the all caps so it fits the whole thing, right? We didn't worry about calling out the area because it's already happening in the name. But it says we're looking for 10 men over 35 who want to start transforming their bodies to join our 21-day challenge. Like, that's really everything that you need to know for this. It's telling you what the offer is. It's a 21-day challenge. It's telling you who it's for, men over 35. It's telling what you're going to help them with, like what they're going to get. You're going to help transform their bodies. And if you remember, our copy formula is who's it for? Or I'm sorry, what are you offering? Who's it for? What do they get? What do you want them to do? With what do you want them to do being the call to action. So we actually have this full amount of copy here, but we really focus on these first 2 lines, because those first 2 lines are all that's going to appear on Instagram. Okay. So we really, really want to get that in there. The next thing is we're not going to have a headline. There's no headline. So essentially you're getting a really strong, long headline that's to start this. And that's worked really well. And we tried a few different things. And this kind of worked great, just kind of like putting it all out there. And then, the last thing is like thinking about Instagram, like how this looks compared to Facebook. It's a big thing. We used a real like doctored up image, right? So this image was professionally done, but there's the lighting, and then it's like got a blue color, and it looks artistic. Like it looks like it belongs in Instagram. So you can actually you know, if you've got a good image like this, it can do really well, but you might even have like you might even do better with stock photos on Instagram if you can get a good quality one, because like, whereas Facebook, you want it to look like supernatural, but on Instagram, it's actually better. You want it to be picture perfect. So where with Instagram, you know, with Facebook, what I like to do is I just tell my clients, I'm like, when you guys are done with the workout, I want you to get everybody arm in arm in a group, smiling, sweaty, with their towels and water bottles and hair everywhere, and take that picture. And the grainier, the better. Like, the more natural it looks, the better. You know, it's like selfies, right? So BJ was helping me with a campaign. He's not on here anymore. And we were doing retargeting for a Fit Pro and trying to get them, you know, to buy. They had hit a sales page and we want to get them back to the order form to buy. We did 2 retargeting campaigns. We did the selfie, like, hey, I saw you on the cart, like, you know, with Bobby, for our ads. And then we did one that was like a picture of like the girls, like, cause it was this whatever little black dress challenge. It was like a girl in a black dress, and, you know, had graphics, and like his graphic designer did it. And he didn't want to send me the selfie. And I was like, send me the damn selfie or I'm not running these ads for you. And he finally sent them. BG and I did the test, and the selfie blew it out of the water. So, you know, like, you know, just goofy looking dude waving at girls with the selfie, looking like a goober, crushed the image. And I remember we got done and BJ was like, dude, were you expecting that? Because I wasn't. And I was like, hell yeah, I was expecting that, because that's what works on Facebook. Right. They know him. He is the brand, right? So when they see his face, just like when people see Bobby's face, they stop scrolling because they go, I know that guy. And then they read it, right? So with Facebook, that low quality stuff works. But on Instagram, it's all touched up and polished and perfection. And
well, if you think of like the top Instagram accounts, like go to like Dan Bilzerian. So I don't know if I can't remember if that's how you say his name, but the dude's got like 25 million followers, and all of those photos are photoshopped. Like him, the girls that are in there, like everything's photoshopped, and everybody knows it. But that's what people go to Instagram for. You know, that's what works on Instagram. It's why people are on there, to look at stuff like that. So it makes a lot of sense.
I don't do Instagram right. I always post like grainy as fuck pictures.
Yeah.
I did a picture today. Did a video of Mason right before the training. I said, I'm playing hide and seek with one of my colleagues at work.
Yeah. Yeah. If you think about it, Instagram's kind of like a ridiculous platform. A lot of it. Like that. Just, if you think about it, Instagram's kind of a ridiculous platform in a lot of ways, because it's like there's so much fake.
It's so pretty all the time.
But it's so pretty, yeah. And it's like, I don't know. We even talked about it in our podcast episode. Like, there's so many people that are like portraying these like fake lives and all this stuff on Instagram. But people love it. They eat it up. It's like their form of entertainment.
Yeah, so, I love the people in my world, and they post their fancy watches and their, you know, they're at the resort, and it's like the little spa pool, and they went at 6 a.m. so no one would be there, like that kind of shit. Yeah.
My jeweler client, they post organically on Instagram all the time, but like every picture is a $25,000 watch, you know, and so they have a ton of followers, and they actually do sales from it. It's pretty incredible, but it works.
Got some good advice from Candace, but if I think it's not Candace, I think it's Jason. If I saw it earlier.
Potato chips. That sounds strong.
So let's talk about so let's talk about the stories versus the newsfeed. So the newsfeed is going to be just like you're on the platform and you're scrolling, right? And every now and then there's an ad, and it didn't surprise me that had a lower click rate, because if you think about it, like it stands out. Ads on Instagram stand out way more than they do on Facebook. So on Facebook, they look so naturally like posts, but on Instagram, like they look like ads, especially because of how people use text. My experience so far has been not using text in Instagram ads is more effective. Like just using pure images. Is every time I've tried to use text, I've had worse performance, even with the same copy. And I think the reason for that, we always have lower CTR. So just my impression is just that you're having a lower percentage of people click through because it doesn't look natural and they're skipping it. Stories, right? Like you've got all the faces at the top. You've got people like Bobby who are always on there sharing. Like, actually, I feel like you've spent every day this week trying to sell one of your cats. I'm kind of curious what that cat did to piss you off.
It's just annoying. It wakes me up at 4:30 in the morning every morning. So I literally, like, I like the cat. You know, I like it. It's cute, but I hate it at the same time.
Well, 3 pounds 75 is about $4.90, and you wanted $5.
That was Tanya.
So I would just
Tanya Filer that made that, and she was like $5. She was like, "I'll pay you $5," and I was like, "I don't know what that is in your weird money. What is that?" And she said 375. So it's like, okay.
So she matched the offer. Go for it. You lose a nickel on the convert or a dime on the conversion. No big deal.
Coral said she would actually divorce me if I sold that cat. It's her substitute for a child right now. So until we have a kid, like that's her.
Oh, watch. She'll have a kid. She'll be ready for all the pets to be gone. So, anyway, the stories are at the top. You know, you can click somebody's face and you can see whatever shenanigans they're up to. But what's interesting about the stories is you start watching one person. When you get to the end of it, it goes to the next person. But then what you'll notice is like every third one will be a single clip and it'll be an ad. Now, sometimes it's a picture, but like I just did a picture. And so somebody was asking, did you choose the objectives? I left both on because I didn't know I was testing. So I did Instagram and I was like, it's not like with certain things on Facebook, like where you don't want to leave other options on because they look so different. Right. And so then you need to change it. You need to be specific with stories versus Instagram story and an Instagram newsfeed. Like it looks very similar. When you go through it, you see the ad and the text and the layout and all that. So we went ahead and we did both. Now, the interesting thing with that is like people are creating great like 5, 10-second, 20-second videos, whatever the limit is, in stories and crushing it. So if you can get a really good engaged video to use in Instagram story ads, it is going to crush. I've seen some people that are selling a software. These two guys that are selling a software to do systems and like outsourcing things, and the video is incredible. And I keep getting hit with it. It's like they know that I do that, but I don't really need their app or their help or anything. But I've watched the video like 3 times now because they're just really good. So if you have somebody that's really engaging and can create a good video, you can really crush it inside of stories. But even if you have the image, stories are a combination of video and image, and it just and because you're just like tapping through them and you're watching them, people don't notice that it's an ad as much. It's not like when you're scrolling, like that's an ad, scroll past it. And you tend to, at least me on Instagram, I scroll past 90% of them.
Yeah,
I'm not really paying attention. So if you go and you in the stories, you tend to watch more of them, and so it can be a powerful placement. I don't know if, have you tested them yet, Bobby?
I haven't. No, we're gonna start doing. We're gonna just start doing some hardcore testing for that in December, just traffic campaigns and everything, like just to see what happens. So I think what we'll probably do is do a lot of tests on Millennial Money Man, and then come back here and do a training for the bloggers in the group. I have a feeling that it's going to be
good. I think.
Yeah, I think it's going to be good.
It's been good for me.
Yeah, I do think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be cheap clicks. So we'll see. But we'll do some email stuff. We'll do some traffic campaigns, and then we'll come back here and do a little case study.
Yeah, as an example, like I've been testing it. So with blog posts, it tends to be like. So here's the thing. This is what my experience has been. We're getting a decent click through, but I don't know if like the time that they stay is the same.
Yeah.
As on Facebook. Because on Facebook, people are actually looking for articles and things to consume. On Instagram, they're not. So that's the one thing you have to worry about with Instagram. Like that's why, Pinterest is so popular with bloggers, because people are looking to consume. Like even more so than Facebook. So I think Pinterest
New
Man,
brand. New
our
brand.
Pinstagram course is going to be freaking sweet.
We're gonna add a Instagram module to
Yeah.
Facebook for bloggers.
I've done some blog ones for one client, and we are getting results like around 25, 30 cents a click, but he's in a really competitive space. I would say he's like a, I would say he's like a business coach, course creator type. Like you would say,
Right.
he's like kind of in the space, like I guess Bobby and I are now, you know?
That's more.
And
I
that's,
feel like that's more common on Instagram though than if you're running some kind of like
yeah,
personal finance blog or any kind of blog, like
yeah,
normal blog. I feel like we're gonna be able to get some cheap clicks. And we'll pull
yeah,
the data from Google and see the time on page and everything.
yeah. And we'll do it for
We can
Ellie,
compare.
and we'll do it for Millennial Money Man, and then we'll come in and check. The main reason that we want to do this today, even though like there's not a ton to talk about because a lot of it is just using the ads platform, is because I had just finished a campaign, you doing it for local, and there was enough that we could say like, here's how to do the creative and all of that kind of stuff. But my experience, like for him, we were doing 25, 30 cent, but those same ads in the news feed were doing 50 cents a click,
Yeah.
which isn't bad, but we can do better. I just haven't found the really powerful content for him yet. We're not doing any content for him under 20 cents right now.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's been advertising on Facebook longer than I have. He's been in the game so long. Like, but he's like 20 cents a click. Hell yeah. Let's spend an extra grand this month. Like, he's like loving it. But I'm just like, we can do better. We can do better. We can do better.
Yeah.
So I have seen it be a little bit cheaper, but not, I haven't, at the same time, I haven't seen some of the results that I have seen on Facebook.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting to test that. And I want to see how some of our unicorn campaigns compare across
Okay.
Facebook to Instagram. That's gonna be interesting. And it's funny, we were talking about Pinterest earlier. You were talking about
You almost said Pinstagram.
I know. I'm gonna do it. We should just call it Pinstagram for bloggers.
Let's just call it Pinstagram.
Yeah. But the Pinterest ads they look damn near identical to a regular pin. I mean, it's very hard. They've made it to where it's like it blends in so well that when I saw that, I was like, oh hell yeah, we're gonna crush it on this.
Yeah.
The other thing, I know we're not talking about Pinterest really, but I'm excited
Well,
about
but
it.
we are talking about Pinstagram, so carry on.
Instagram. Yes, but the rules. This was an interesting thing. The rules on Pinterest are so laxed compared to Facebook that it presents some opportunities, but it also presents some problems in that like you're not really sure what's going to get denied and what's not.
Scares me a little bit.
It's kind of the Wild West right now.
Yeah,
I mean, you go
the attorney in me, it kind of freaks me out because I'm afraid we're going to get banned because it's so broad like, that you won't know if you're violating the terms.
I was able to read through their terms of service in like
a minute,
probably a minute. Yeah, I was shocked. I was like, holy crap, we can.
You sent them to me, and I read through them and was like, fuck, I don't know what to do. And so we were running ads, and we're like, these would get us in trouble on Facebook.
Right.
But I guess, but they technically don't violate their terms. Maybe they do, but they don't, on the face of it, we just ran them. So
we ran them and they're doing well. Keep running.
Yeah.
We're going to hold batch coming up.
Yeah. And so Randy, this is one of those things like this training, like if you guys have questions, like I showed you like how we do the placement and kind of how we do the creative and some of that stuff. And like, this is it. Like, that's really all you need to know. You guys know everything else. Everything else applies. So the $15 to $20 a day, you should probably still be doing that.
Yeah.
If you're trying to run traffic to a blog post, you don't need to spend that much. If you're trying to build a list, it depends, right? Like if you're trying to build a list, like if you're running to a national audience to grow your email list, all that matters is that you get 50 conversions in a week. You need 50 conversions in a week. So it doesn't matter how much you're spending a minimum of a day. That we don't talk about the 50 conversion rule a lot because it kind of doesn't apply at the local level.
Yeah.
But it does apply. Not for ads. So like you can use hashtags to make it appear more natural, but it's already going to look like, let me show you. It's already going to stand out in the news feed because it has this button. And I don't even think you can change. Oh, you can choose the call to action button and it's going to be here, but only ads have that button. So it stands out. And so you can put hashtags and then people can search it. So there's nothing wrong with using relevant hashtags. It's probably a good idea, but it's not necessary at all.
Hold on 1 second.
All right. So the 50 conversion rule is that when you're doing conversions or you're doing lead gen campaigns, Facebook beefed up their algorithm. It was the last big change they made. And it was like well over a year ago. It was way before this course started. And you needed to get 50 conversions in a week to optimize, right? So you really needed to be getting 8 conversions a day in order for your ad to perform effectively, to get enough data. And so a lot of local guys were freaking out because you don't always get that much. You might get 15 in a week or 30 in a week. Like getting 50 conversions in a week for a local client is a lot. But what happens is, like, with a local ad, it's the same reason we don't worry about targeting as much. A local ad does not perform based on the Facebook algorithm and interest targeting. It performs based on the strength of the offer and your copy, right? That's why we spend so much time talking about offer and critiquing copy, because that's what drives it. They have to say, I want that, and click it. So it's just a matter of them seeing it and getting enough traffic through, right? And so you don't need to worry about the 50 conversion rule. But when you were trying to do list building and you're doing conversion campaigns to get email subscribers or webinar subscribers or whatever, and you're targeting a national audience, you need to get 50 in a week. Because if you don't get to 50 in a week, you're going to see your ads are going to perform really good out the gate. Say they only get 40, and then you're going to notice the next week it just tanks. And the reason it tanks is because they were guessing at first and it was working. But then since it didn't get enough information, the algorithm is like, I don't know what to do. So instead of doing the same thing, maybe it is continuing to do the same thing it was doing. But what it's not doing is it's not learning and evolving and going, I'm going to get people here. I'm going to get people here. I'm going to get people here, and it stops showing it to the right people, and it tanks. And so what you see is people that are like, my ads worked really well for a week, then they died. And then I made a new ad, and then I made a new ad, and they're making new ads every week. It's because they're not getting the conversions. So it doesn't really matter at the local level. But if you're doing anything that's like for an online business, if you're doing something like Bobby and I, where you want to build your email list, you need to have a good enough budget to get those 50. That way it will stay. But the nice thing is if you have the budget and you're getting the results for that kind of campaign, once it's rolling, you never have to change it.
No.
Like, I've got campaigns that have been running for 3 years.
Yeah.
And the prices might have gone up a little bit, but like, you never change them.
Yeah. Well, we've seen some people give some advice out that, you can't, because we talk about you're able to run traffic campaigns, campaigns for $1 a day.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And that's true. You can run them for $1 a day, and you're probably going to get 50 conversions. It's going to optimize. But we've seen people saying, no, that doesn't work. Spending $1 a day isn't enough for the algorithm to actually optimize, and that's just not true. It can. You just have to get 50. And we've seen people say, like, you have to spend $5 a day on some of these traffic campaigns and stuff, and that's just not the case.
Yeah. Randy, I'll come back to your question in a second, but I want to clarify this, because we did this. I got an email from, like, an email list email from somebody else that does what we do. And they were talking about, like, you can't do this for just $1 a day. You have to spend a $5. You need to spend $5 per day minimum. But if you spend $5 a day, then you can do this. Well, us saying that you can do it for $1 a day when we're talking about engagement campaigns and traffic campaigns is true. And the fact that you have to spend at least $5 to do a lead gen or a conversion campaign, that is true. But saying, that person was saying about $5 per day minimum, like you have to, or that, like, you can
across all objectives. Basically.
Yeah. Basically saying, oh, you just have to get $5 on a conversion campaign and you're good to go. That is very incorrect, because that rule of 50 is the rule. And the fact that y'all know this now, and you're watching this and you know this, means that you are, like, in the top 10% of marketers that, like, no shit, because 90% of My peers don't have a fucking clue what that is. They don't know what they're doing. Okay. And because what happens is they don't read the Facebook updates. They don't read the terms of service. They don't go through Facebook Blueprint. They don't read the documentation that Facebook provides. I do. Bobby does. We know this stuff. So what does a budget look like, to go back for you, Randy? This is a good transition. What's a budget look like for a nationalist, for a list building strategy? I don't know. A minimum of $5 per day, because that's the minimum that you can do. And you can get results for $5 per day if you're getting 8 conversions per day for that $5 budget. So what would that be? Let me see what that is. Because maybe I don't even know if that's possible anymore. Let me see. So that means you need to be spending 62.5 cents. So 62 cents per subscriber. That's very possible. I just realized I've got one of my clients, we're spending $30 a day, but we're doing like 57 cents per email subscriber in the fitness space. So it's possible, like we could run his ads at $5 per day, but it really just comes down to how much are you spending? How many are you getting over the course of the week? If you're not getting 50 over the course of the week, your budget has to come up.
Yeah.
And it's actually better to start with the bigger budget, see what it is, and back off than it is to try and scale it.
Yeah.
No, that's for everything. That rule, that 50 rule, is for anything. We just don't talk about it with traffic engagement because you can get clicks for so cheap. Now, if you're getting $2 clicks, right, then you need to be spending $16, $17, $18 a day, right? But if you're getting 10-cent clicks, then you don't have to worry.
Yeah, I'm getting like 300. Like some of the campaigns we're doing are like you get 300 clicks.
Right.
So like you're good from day one.
50 is the minimum.
Right.
Okay, that is the minimum. The more you get, the better. If 50 is the minimum, 100 is good. 200 is better. Now with conversion campaigns, it's harder to get above 50, right? Like you need to at least get that 50.
We need to do a myths about Facebook ads podcast episode.
Yeah, but I'll just end up like talking shit about everyone else.
Well, we
except for our friends that we've invited into the group.
We'll keep it calm. We won't say any names or do anything like that. We'll just listicle it. Myth number 1.
Yeah.
I think it'd be good. I think it'd be valuable.
Yeah. There are like 3 Facebook marketers that I like outside of the people that are in our group.
Like, you're like
famous course creators.
You and over the third bin and
yeah. There's 3 Facebook marketers I like. They're all on our expert team.
Yeah, we've got legit people. I love our people so much.
No, but I mean, I've talked about it before. Even though Kat Howell started posting some really weird shit on Instagram, she does have a good course. And I love Dennis Yu's content. Anybody that says that you can't do $1 a day on Facebook, you know that they don't know what they're talking about, because Dennis Yu is the best Facebook marketer and one of the originals and one of the only guys that gets invited to Facebook's campus all the time. And he is known for the $1 a day thing. And he's working for NBA teams and Pepsi and all these companies.
The big stuff. Yeah.
He's the dude. But guys like that, Ben Malal, when it comes to email or e-com stuff, that dude knows his shit. Like there's a couple of people.
Yeah.
Kind of again.
Now we're not talking.
Are you referring to Dennis Yu?
Yeah, I think he is. We're not talking crap about people, but you see incorrect information sometimes, and it's just like, it's frustrating because everybody's spending money on these ads. Like everybody's trying to have success with these ads, and like really, a lot of people are making big investments in this stuff and taking a chance on it. And then it's like, you have people that are like trying to position themselves as experts that are giving out incorrect information. It's frustrating to see that, but
yeah,
that's why we're trying.
Yeah. And like, you don't like
real deal.
It's, yeah. Talk about something else for a second. I want to pull something
up. Let's see. Today I walked my dog, and
that was not what I meant by talk about something.
Well, I'll just tell the story. We have this thing in our neighborhood. Great neighborhood. Love the neighborhood. There are so many people with little dogs, like little tiny, like shitty little dogs that don't put their dogs on a leash. And then it's like, for whatever reason, like my dog's he's like a pretty big dog. He's not intimidating, but he's a pretty big dog. And like these little tiny dogs run up to him, and then the owners get mad at us. They're like, why didn't you hold him back or whatever? I'm like, why didn't you put your, why don't you put your little, whatever that is, your Shih Tzu on a leash? It's ridiculous that I have to do, like, my dog kills your dog. That's your fault. I feel like in that situation, I don't know how that, yeah, they're so mean. And it's like, they don't realize that my dog could just kill it. Like they could just snap its neck and it would be over, but he's a good dog. So he doesn't do that. But anyways, I see this, it happened today, it happened yesterday. I'm like, man, these people need to get, like, maybe I just need to let Strider go on one of them. No, I can't say that. That's terrible. He wouldn't do it anyways. He wouldn't do anything. But it's just, it's annoying. It's just annoying. So when you asked me to talk about something else, that was top of mind.
Mm.
That was top of mind for sure. We have coyotes. I'm not gonna lie. So we have, like, it's so weird. All of our neighborhoods on this, like, we're in a Facebook group together, so we all share stuff. We have a super cool neighborhood. I actually know every person on my street. But there's a coyote that walks around here all the time, always on the cameras. So it's like, man, it's one of these little dogs not on the leash one day. It's gonna be a bad day. So that's what's going on in my life right now. So how's everybody else doing? Did I vamp for long enough, or do I need to talk? I can talk about random crap.
What kind of dog you have, Bobby?
I have he's a mutt, but he's a boxer. He's a boxer mixed with lab, mixed with bulldog.
Oh, sweet.
When we got him, I was told, okay, so I adopted this dog sight unseen. I saw a picture of him. I wanted a Great Dane, and my wife's mother's friend owns a pet shelter thing. And she was like, oh yeah, I've got this awesome Great Dane. He's out in the country. His owners want to put him down. It was like the super sad story. And I was like, okay. Like, this was back when I was working totally by myself. I was like in a little apartment every day. I was like kind of depressed. And I was like, I need a dog. And Coral went out of town. She went to California. So I did all this while she was gone. It was incredible. So, so she's like, she's gone. And I'm like, hey, I'm looking at this dog. And she was like, don't get a dog while I'm gone. I'm like, okay, don't worry. And so I see a picture of this dog and I'm like, okay, that is an awesome looking Great Dane, I think. And so I was like, I like talking.
Great Dane.
Yeah. So I talked to the pet shelter people, and they're like, oh yeah, we'll bring him over, and you can do it on a trial. Like, you can do a trial, and if you don't like him, then you can give him back before your wife gets home. So I'm like,
that's dirty.
I'm like thinking about it.
That's low.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. And I'm like, okay, I'll do it. They're gonna put this dog
just a good Dane.
He's just a good Dane. And so I get the dog, right? And this guy shows up in overalls. His name, but it was most country dude I've ever seen. Shows up in overalls with this dog, and I had been told that he's like well behaved, he's house trained, like he's so like calm, and he's like, I thought the dog was an idiot. I was like, this is the dumbest, stupidest dog I've ever seen. He was hyper, he was like peeing and like all this stuff. And I get him in the house, and like before I knew it, like they just all left, and I just had this dog, and I was like, okay. What have I done to myself? And then I find out like he's not a Great Dane. He didn't even look like a Great Dane. They said he was 4 years old. He was like 6 months old. Like, it was just, the whole thing was a scam, and they had fake paperwork on the dog. Like, the dog has fake doctored paperwork that said he had like a kidney surgery in like 2015 or something. He wasn't even alive back then. It's just, the whole thing was a mess. So anyways, I have this dog. I love him to death, but I have him. So that's the story.
Awesome.
Yeah, I know. It's a good story. It's
that's one of the
because
reasons I want to do this full time at some point. Is actually get a dog.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, they're great. And then you have kids, and you, like Mike's told me this. You have kids, and you forget that the dog exists, and then it turns into.
Well, no, you don't forget the dog exists. You're like, just get out from under my damn feet. Like, you get ticked at the dog because you're ticked at the kids. Like, yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's what's going on.
Don't drink and cruise Facebook. So that was a wonderful story. Wow.
Dude, I can vamp like nobody else.
So Facebook has all these great resources under facebook.com/business/help. And you can go in and you can look in ads, pages, conversions, results. And it is literally like step by step. You can go through and learn about anything. and it will tell you like these are best practices. Like the stuff that we teach you, like you need to do this, you should have this, you should have X. Like I learned that stuff by reading this stuff. Like I learned how that worked from reading this stuff. There's actually a whole nother section that's even more detailed than this. But like they actually tell you how to use and how they want you to use things. But under the conversion, the results section under conversions, you can see here, this is just one of the sections. This is not, like I said, this is not the more in-depth one, but you can see here, when optimizing for rare results, right? Conversion is considered rare results because a conversion is more rare than an engagement or a link click, right? Keep in mind that you need, we recommend 50 optimization events within the conversion window per week. These 50 have to be attributable to the ads. And what that means is, like you can see here, if you have your conversion window set to 1 day click, and then it happens 3 days later, that doesn't count toward the 50. Now, it used to be that you needed like 10 to 15, and then they changed it to 50. And I can tell you when it happened, overnight ads died. It was like they updated the algorithm to make it smarter, and over the night it died. But what ended up happening is the ones that were humming became more consistent. But there's all this documentation. Like I'll just go ahead and post this link real quick in case anybody wants it. Like there's other resources, but just look for Facebook's resources on Facebook ads, because you can really learn a lot about it and become very educated. You're already more educated than a lot of people, but like, like one of the reason we were having the story, the reason I was on another Facebook person's email list is because I really like to look at the bullshit that my competitors are saying. No. Because I don't know, it gets me all fired up and motivated.
Yeah, you do. You do get fired up. It's good though.
Well, anybody have any questions? Michael's typing. It's coming. I feel it. He's lurking in the dark, basking in the glory of his new client.
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's good though. Like I don't like some of the way he does things, but I have respect for his ability to be successful as he is. Like I put it this way, like my wife, like if it's a famous LeBron James, my wife hates LeBron James. I don't know why. Actually, I do know why. Because she hates anybody that's very, very successful in any sport. Like she doesn't like Coach K of Duke. She thinks like Coach K, she's like, Duke gets all the calls. Like she hates Coach K. And I'm just like, you don't like him because he's good. Like she doesn't like Tiger Woods. She doesn't like LeBron. She doesn't like Coach K. She doesn't like the greats. And I'm the total opposite. I'm just like, I don't even know. I might even like this, not like this person, but I'm just like, you're really freaking good. Like right. I have a lot of respect for what it took for you to get there. And that's kind of how I feel like for
LeBron, really.
Yeah.
Just when I was like, man.
And my dad, LeBron, like LeBron went to school in my dad's hometown. So my dad like loves LeBron. And so
I don't see how you can't not like the dude is always doing like incredible things for the community. And like, he's just a great person. Like you can tell he's actually a great person. And
don't I will tell you this, ask me to explain the enigma of my wife.
I know. She seems complicated.
She's a character.
She is complicated. But he until
he took his talent stuff, Beach.
Yeah, well, okay, that was a mistake. He probably shouldn't have done it the way he did it. But he shares incredible wine on his Instagram stories. Like he has world-class wine almost every day on his Instagram story, and his minimum bottle price is like $188 or something. Like he's not drinking any
go follow.
You should, dude. There was the other night he had an $1,800 bottle of wine on there that I was just like, how is that? That's just crazy. But then you go look up the taste, like they're all like incredible wines. I'm sure he has like a person that just picks out his
life
wine.
Goals.
That is one.
How do I drink wine like LeBron? What do I have to do in life?
I think we need to grow about 2 feet to 1.5 feet and become like unbelievably athletic.
I thought you were gonna say like we really need to grow this business, and I was like, dude, I don't think we can actually get to that point.
Was legitimately no. We have to go back to the starting.
We have to go back in time and be we have to
be like 6'8" and be able to like run like a cheetah. And it's not happening. I tried to chase Strider today in the backyard and like I immediately hurt my foot. Like just like off like the first step I took. I was like, oh, I need to slow down. So it's just, you know.
All right. Anybody have any questions? I feel like this was
like
Mike's
sick
training.
Mike is sick, and we probably should.
Oh, you guys want to see? Speaking of wine, look at my wine. See my pretty box.
Brian, yeah, he said keep it the same as what you do for. You should probably keep it the same as what you do for Facebook.
Yeah, I would keep it the same. And then look at your analytics, and if you're seeing that you're totally not getting anything from an age group, then ditch it.
You weren't doing age stuff, were you? Were you just leaving it?
Oh, you were talking about.
There's just questions
coming. Am I like, or is my vision that bad? No. Okay. Yeah. Troy asked about age range. I combined the questions. I read the first half of Brian's question, the second half of Troy's. Objective is the same as well. Yeah. Yep. Oh, show. Because you can do Instagram lead ads or conversions. No, they need to be separate ads. Now the questions are coming. They like let us talk about random shit for a while. They need to be separate because you notice we were talking about the image and the copy need to be different for Instagram and Facebook. So if you want to run both, they need to be separate ads. And what it might be good is run an ad on one, and when it atrophies, run it on the other and rotate them. Just like I like to rotate the men's ads and the women's ads for gyms so that we can give the audience a break. We'll do the same thing now with Facebook and Instagram.
Michael's funny.
Wait. No, you can't do an IG ad and a Facebook ad in the same ad set because the placements happen at the ad set level. So you have to do 2 ad sets, and we don't do 2 ads at an ad set anyway.
Golden rule.
Except for the couple times when I break my rule, which you guys have probably seen me do lately because I'm experimenting. Yes, Sean, it does repopulate. I'm like, where were these questions 10 minutes ago?
I know. I was like, guys,
Mike. The urgency of Michael's leaving and calculating. I know.
I did feel like it was actually. I was telling it. I was like, this is really actually a compelling story. Like this.
Well, everybody was like, like everybody's like sitting back and like looking down at their phone when I'm talking about what the training is they came up for, and you start talking about their dog. And what's up?
It's storytelling though, but this is what we talk about sometimes. Storytelling, it's key.
Higher hopes for the dog story.
Look, I don't care. I just don't care. All right, if you don't like my dog story, it's a good story. Whoa!
Oh, you guys like book recommendations? Our good friend Jessica Lorimer. I was on a podcast with her on Monday. She recommended this book, Talk Triggers, the complete guide to creating customers with word of mouth. So for those of you that have a business and want word of mouth customers, this might be worth looking into. She actually interviewed the guy and said he was awesome. And then she is like, just went through the book and loved it. So
Sean's question, do you think hashtags will reach? Platform was built on hashtags.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know that either. You know, it's interesting though with the Pinterest ads that we're doing, the keyword, like the hashtag stuff, is incredibly important for keywords, and that's been very interesting. Yeah, we need to do a separate thing on just Pinterest ads in general.
One day.
I know. So much to do.
Hashtags are essential for organic. They're like a requirement for organic.
That's like the pipeline.
To have 15 to 25 relevant hashtags, but for ads, it doesn't matter. Yeah. There might be a benefit from having it, but I don't really know because I don't know if ads can show up in the hashtag search format. They might be totally excluded. I actually don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, he was asking for Pinterest. Yeah, actually, as I understand it, the Pinterest are actually searchable from hashtags. I don't know that for sure though, but I was
talking about Instagram. I'm not really sure.
He was talking about Pinterest. Yeah.
you can use a post ID, a former post ID on Instagram, because you're changing the placement at the ad set level. So you can use the post ID, but that doesn't mean that your ad will be optimized for Instagram. Like you need to create an ad that's unique to Instagram. Like that's the whole point. Like the reason you have to have a different ad set is because the way the ad looks on Instagram needs to be very different than it would for, take care, Miranda. It needs to be different, right? You're not going to have a headline. You're going to have a different style image. That first 2 sentences is way more important on Instagram than it is on um, it's way more important on Facebook because you need to, I just lost my thought reading the comments. It's way more important on Instagram because that's the only text that they're going to see. As far as story ads, what they look like, let me see if I can pull up a sample. I got you. Okay, here we go. They actually look really good on stories. So this is the regular Instagram ad, newsfeed ad, and this is the stories ad.
Yeah, looks freaking sweet.
We provide effective training programs and personalized nutrition plans. So, I mean, so I had forgotten about this, but like you can see here, I made sure to have the call to action really high, right? So think about, this is the headline. This is the call to action, tap learn more. And then I gave them like, what do they get? A training plan and a nutrition plan. So like everything is in there.
You change that call to action to swipe up, or is that not an option?
No, because it's going to be whatever the options are in the ads. It's going to be apply now, learn more, whatever.
Okay.
But you could say, for example, instead of saying tap here, you could say swipe up to apply, or swipe up to get more information, or whatever. Great question, Erica. Sean, I have no clue. An ad from an Instagram, would you find information to reference it? Not a damn clue.
Yeah.
Troy, I didn't. I ran it for a client. I would treat it personally the way I treat all of my stuff, which is I'm just going to do extra things for my clients if it's not going to be a huge time boost for my team. So there's certain things like if we're going to do extra campaigns, like you guys know the branding, the brand booster thing, I charge extra for that because it's time intensive. If they have an extra gym, I'm going to charge extra for that because it's like 2 businesses. Yeah. If I'm just running an IG ad instead of a Facebook ad, I'm just going to do that to get them good results. If it gets to where they're wanting me to run a dozen campaigns and I'm running, I've got a client that started off, paying me $1,000 a month, and we were just doing a campaign. And now we're doing videos, list building, cold audience, retargeting. We're doing a tripwire campaign. We're doing a Facebook group campaign. We're doing Instagram. We're doing a direct to call ad. Like there's a lot of stuff going on. He pays me $2,500 now, right? Like he pays me a lot more because I'm doing a lot more work, right? And so that's how I handle it. So
that's a good way to approach it though, because the reality is you're making a change at the ad set level and you're doing a slightly different creative and you're swapping the copy up or switching the copy up a little bit. Like
to me, that's no different.
Yeah. And I think that's one of those things, like if you don't charge more, if you don't if you treat your client really well like that, you're going to keep them around for a long time. Because the honest reality, and I think a lot of marketers would take that opportunity to be like, oh no, Instagram ads, that's totally different. That's hard. That's $500 more a month. But that's,
but it's not. But here's the other thing. Your client thinks it's different.
Yeah.
So they're like, you are the fucking best. I
Yeah.
love you. I'm never going to leave you. And I'm like, I know. Thank you. Right. So like there's something to that. And, you know, I remember it's funny. I had a meeting with Gary Griffiths on Monday. We still get together every now and then. And was trying to refer me some business. And I was like, dude, I don't want it. I'm not touching it. I'm not right now. And I was like, it's not doing this, and that. It's just not worth my time right now. And he's like, man, he goes, this conversation's a lot different than it would have been 2 years ago, you know? And he's like, 2 years ago, you would have taken it and you would have been like, I don't really want to put the time into that, but like, I'll take the money. Why not? You know, because I was just trying to scale so much at that point. And, but anyway, that's kind of random.
Every entrepreneur goes through that. Cause like, I'm still dealing with that with clients that I have where I do all this random crap for them. And I'm like, God, I wish I wasn't doing this anymore. But at the time, like,
right.
You know, I would have actually sold Coral's cat because I was that hungry.
And
so it's just, that's something you go through.
Yeah. But I brought that up because one of the things I love about Gary and that we've always shared is that we don't try to just nickel and dime people. And there's a reason guys like Mike and Ben, and I'm sure Adam and Tanya too, but I say Ben because he's been a friend of mine for a long time. But there's a reason why guys like Gary and Ben and Mike Keith and I have clients that have just been with us for ages. And it's because we don't nickel and dime them. We give them a good deal. We make it so that it's a no-brainer for them to stay with us forever. And that makes it easier to scale because, you know, when you've got 10 clients that are paying you $1,000 and they're never going to leave you, it makes it a lot easier to go after the higher price clients or to do whatever.
Trying to get an extra $300 out of them for an Instagram ad.
Exactly.
You know, and then
exactly.
And then you lost, you know, what was the potential revenue you lost out for 5 years?
Yeah, the guy that did the Instagram ad, dude, is one of my oldest clients. He's literally, I think he's been with me for 3 years, even with like a break in there. Like there was a break where we stopped working together. But I've run ads for him for like almost 3 years. And so when you think of like the lifetime value of that, like I've made a minimum of, $35,000-$40,000 from him. Well, if I would have tried to get $1,350 out of him, I would have been lucky to make $10,000 from him, you know?
Yeah.
And he's a good friend of mine now too, you know, like, you know, we got on a call last month just to talk about our kids, just hang out, you know? So,
yeah, Randy, that's one that everybody goes through, you know, what's the context for normal work versus extra. And like, I mean, my first client, I probably worked like full-time hours for them. Probably, maybe not, but I was willing to do it because I just left my teaching job and I was like, I need this money. But now it's like, now I set boundaries, or I try to. This is something Mike is really good at after, you know, working with clients, as many clients as he has. Like, you have to set.
I go through phases.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you get to the point where, well, and we were just talking about this last week. Like, we were both pissed off because like I had a client like messaging me on Sunday morning, and I was like, why is this happening right now? Like, this is not what I need in my life. But it's because I never set a boundary with them. But in the beginning, you don't know those things. Like, you know, your perspective changes over time with all this.
And Randy, I'm going to tell you the secret. There is a secret, right? About like when you have somebody, it's like, can you do this? Can you do that? You have to decide, what do I want to do?
Yeah.
Okay. And if there's something that you don't want to do, then you need to think, how much do I need to be paid to want to do that thing? That's your get out of bed fee, right? My get out of bed fee is $1,000, right?
Yeah.
Like to do work for other people. My get on the phone fee is $400. Like that's mine, like to be worth it for me. So you got to figure out how much they say, can you do this? Can you do that? And you got to say, okay, how much is that worth to me? If it's something you don't want to do, then you say, sure, I can do that, but it's going to cost this much. And one of two things are going to happen. Either they're going to go, oh, never mind, I don't want to do that. And it's not a problem. They let it go, right? And they have more respect for you as an authority, as an expert, because you put a price on it instead of letting them walk all over you. Or they say, sure, why not? Here's $500. I've had that happen before too. And so what you got to be careful of is if you don't want to do the thing, like you really got to do a real get out of bed fee. If you don't want to do it and you're like 250, like you should have probably said 500 because they might go for 250. I've had before where I've said something and they're like, cool, let's do it. And I'm like, damn it.
Yeah, you lost the negotiation.
Yeah.
Well, and it's funny too, like one of my mentors very early on told me this, this kind of rule that at a certain price, you're willing to do anything. And it really applies to everything. Like, if my neighbor comes over and he's like, yo, I'll pay you $15 to mow my yard, I'd be like, get out of, no, go away. But he comes over and he's like, hey, I'll pay you $1,500 to mow my yard right now. I'd be like, okay, where's your lawnmower? Like I would do it. And so you have to, over time, you kind of figure out what, like you said, your get out of bed fee is. And you realize what's worth your time and what's not worth your time. But you have to go through those periods where you don't know, I feel like. But that's one of the reasons we try to get you guys to charge $1,000 a month on the service, because a lot of your get out of bed fees are lower when you first start. And we want to get to,
this is important. This is my favorite business book. This is the best business book on the market. It is 135 pages, and there is not a single paragraph of fluff. It is fantastic. It's all actionable. It's great. James Schramko, who wrote that book, if you go on my Twitter, which I don't use very often, I retweeted something he said the other day, and it was his students. He has this huge community, business membership community. Gary's actually in it. It's a membership site. He teaches people all kinds of stuff. It's a forum though. And he said, my students are always asking me, why are Facebook marketers so expensive? Why am I having to pay $1,500 per month for a Facebook marketer? He goes, the reason is because if they're charging less than $1,000, they suck. And he goes, because here's what happens. Facebook marketers happen. The growth, the natural growth of a Facebook marketer. Y'all go through it. Y'all have gone through a different path. But the natural growth of a Facebook marketer is like me. It is, they figured out Facebook ads for themselves and they got good at it. People took notice. So they started helping other people and they got those people results. So then they started doing it for more people by word of mouth. And then they got to a point where they couldn't take on more clients. So they either started outsourcing and hiring people, or they raised their fees, or both. And so the reality is that those people, by the time that they get to where they're having a business and they're charging people for it, they aren't going to take less than $1,000. Most of them aren't going to take less than $1,500 because they already have more work than they need. They don't need your business, and it's high in demand, and it's a high ROI service. Okay. For y'all, it's a little different because you're learning it. You're going out into the world, right? You didn't do it like I did, where it naturally grew and you were just like happy. I was like, hey, I got $650 here, I got $1,000 here, I got $500 here. Like I didn't care. But then when I got to where I was like, I'm going to do this thing, I wouldn't take less than that because I didn't have time for it. It wasn't worth it. Or I knew what the work involvement was. So like, this is one of the big shots in our industry that is saying this. And he's saying, if they charge $1,000, they suck and you shouldn't hire them anyway. That's why we don't want you guys to charge less than $1,000.
Yeah. Because
we know what's out there and we know what y'all can do. And we see the advice that you give each other in the community based on what you've learned, both in the course and through your own experience and through your own research. Y'all are the freaking bomb. Like, you guys know your shit.
You just don't know that you know your shit all the time.
Just don't know. Yeah.
But you will.
You just don't know how hot shit you are, girlfriend.
Next time we do a podcast episode, can you open with that?
No.
I swear it'll
Dude, it's got to be all natural. Like, it just has to come out.
All right, fine.
I'm about to clown your ass so hard. I'm trying to hold it.
I didn't even know you were here.
I love her.
That's awesome.
That was the first time I've heard her speak, and I love her.
Oh man,
it's my new favorite.
We were talking about your cartoon. I was telling Bobby about it, but I don't remember why it was. You had your comic book. I don't remember. This was like the last call when he was gone. Anyway, all right, we've gone long. Does anybody have any last minute questions? If not, I'm gonna go before my wife kills me.
Yeah, or before the cold kills you.
Just charge more money.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. Man, you preach on it, you know.
Yeah, I know, because I mean, you'd be surprised who you lose when you don't charge as much as you should be. Like you lose, it's amazing. When you go back, you're like, what the hell happened? It turns out they don't believe in your skill set because you charge so little. They thought they were getting ripped off.
Yeah, especially like established business owners that have been in the game for a while. Like they want people that are confident in their abilities. You know, it's a good point.
I have a great example of this. I have a former client, online business space, specifically helps women that have PCOS and just different, different bodily function issues that affect their weight and their health and stuff that I don't understand. And we worked together a long time. He had great results. We did sales, and he was always selling his services. Like, I would say, like, he was on the higher end of like the normal service for like a monthly cost for online coaching, but it wasn't like outrageous, but it was high. And so for most people, it was hard for them to commit to, and they wouldn't do it. But he couldn't really lower his costs because it was so involved, and he was so educated, and he helped them so personally. And anyway, we'd stopped working together because he was traveling the world doing all this. He just moved to Dallas, so I went and I had lunch with him at Papacitos the other day. We had a lot of fun. I was asking about how business was going, and he's like, "Dude, it is going so well, and it has gotten so easy in the last year. Everything finally started to click." And I was like, "Cool. Well, what did you do? What finally clicked?" And he goes, "I increased my prices." I was like, "Hell yeah." I was like, "Well, tell me about it. Like, what happened?" He goes, "I went from charging where he was maybe charging like, he was trying to charge like $1,200 or to $1,500 for a 12-week program. He's now charging he's now charging like $6,000 for a 12-week program. So people charging him $6,000 for 3 months. But the stuff he's doing, he's helping people with these conditions through like nutrition that like their doctors aren't able to help them with. It's really high value. But he's like, I have so many clients now. I've hired 3 of my clients that have gotten amazing results. It's transformed their life, and they are now my salespeople, and they're making commissions." And he goes, "I'm not even doing paid traffic anymore." He goes, "I'm gonna have to hire you again later once I get these sales ladies going, but I'm getting so much incoming inbound leads organically for these high-end programs that I didn't have the time to do it." And he said the difference was that higher price point, people took him more seriously. And then once he got him in the program, he got him incredible results. And because it was literally changing their life, it was changing their health, it was making them not just like lose weight and look better, but like they freaking felt better, that they were then telling people word of mouth. And he's like, there were people now like, "Oh, that's a lot of money." I was like, "I just bought a house. I just put money down on a mortgage." And he's like, "Wait, you're willing to put down money on a house, but not on your health?" And like, that was a big change. Now, I'm not saying you should go charge $5,000 per month for your service you're providing, but I'm just saying, like, sometimes charging $1,500 is easier than charging $500.
Yeah.
Especially for what we do.
All right. We should probably go, Mike.
Yeah, I'm tired.
Yeah. Well,
I'm just going to sit here and what's the Night at the Roxbury, this thing? I was actually thinking of that song, and so I started like, I don't know why.
Jesus.
Okay.
All right, cool. We'll see how you guys
I'm
later.
going to go finish drinking my Robitussin. Have a good night. See, the joke finally landed.